The husband of a Utah woman who vanished almost a year ago finally breaking his silence. In an explosive interview, Josh Powell is blasting both his missing wife and her heartbroken parents. They're going to join us exclusively in just a moment to respond to that. But now the story from Ashley Banfield.
He has said almost nothing in public for nearly a year, but now Josh Powell is speaking out. In an interview with the Salt Lake Tribune, Powell calls his missing wife extremely unstable.
He believes that the police have mishandled this investigation by focusing on him.
Powell is holding firm to his story, maintaining that the night his wife went missing, he took his 2 young boys out camping in the dead of night during a blizzard.
He is stuck to the story that she ran away and that he didn't do anything with her.
Powell remains the only person of interest in the case, although he hasn't been charged.
He believes that she can return and that she might return any time.
Powell has done little to help find his wife. Instead, within weeks, he moved his children out of the family home and out of state.
And surprising new accusations from Stephen Powell, Josh's father.
He claims Susan ran off with another man, saying, quote, she's very sexually motivated.
Josh and Stephen are now addressing that very curious wet stain that was found on the living room rug, drying by 2 fans the morning after Susan disappeared. They say that Susan was trying to clean the rug of a red stain, likely caused by juice spilled by the kids, but police haven't said anything like that. Josh Powell is blaming Susan's family for causing her pressure,
claiming they want her to be perfect. Powell says Susan doesn't have as much strength as they'd like to think she has.
There are a lot of tensions within the family that are not being resolved, that can't be resolved. And it's especially catastrophic when people are pointing fingers at one another.
Powell also blames the press for vilifying him, but says they will eventually turn on Susan, saying, quote, she'll be chewed up like hamburger when she comes back.
For Good Morning America, Ashley Banfield, ABC News.
And joining us now exclusively are Susan's mother and father, Judy and Charles Cox, and Josh Powell's sister, Jennifer Graves, who's here with her husband, Kurt Graves, who be there and hold. I know it's very difficult. Hold your hand. I know it's difficult for all of you to be here this morning, but we appreciate it greatly. And Mr. Cox, when you hear these statements, I know it's very important to you all to be able to respond to some things that Josh has said, and you hear him say that your daughter was unstable, that there was mental illness in the family, and that if she came back, she would be chewed up like hamburger. I mean, how do you react to that?
It's blatantly untrue. I can't imagine, well, it's obviously a self-serving statement, and I don't, it's untrue. It's all untrue.
And Mrs. Cox, when he says that you and the family, that the quote that he said that you want her, being Susan, to be perfect, a saint, is that true?
No, we want all our daughters to be happy. And she was strong in the church, and she had a lot of friends, and I don't know how much they socialized, but I know Susan had a lot of friends. Mm-hmm. And we don't expect any of our children to be perfect, or no one would expect that. They want their children to be happy.
I know the last thing you all want to do is to have to do this, to respond to him. You want all the resources and time to be spent in finding your daughter, your sister-in-law, Jennifer. And I know how difficult this is for you, especially you're talking about your brother, and you thought it was important because you found it ironic in particular that he claims that Susan is unstable. Why do you find that ironic?
I think it's very ironic because in the Powell family, my family, we're the ones with the mental illness documented. My brother, Josh's brother, has bipolar and schizophrenia. So it's documented in the Powell family. It's not, as far as I know, documented in the Cox family. And I never saw Susan display symptoms.
And you did spend a lot of time, and we have to say, we contacted your father, and sure. he sent us a statement and said that you have been, as he put it, isolated from the family for many, many years. How well did you know your brother? How involved were you with the family and the boys?
With Josh and Susan and the boys, they came over to our house regularly, especially Susan and the boys. We were very close until she disappeared.
And what did you witness between them?
Between Josh and Susan, there was a lot of discord. They didn't have a very good relationship. Josh didn't treat her very well. So,
Mr. Cox, how would you characterize their marriage? What did you see? What did you witness?
Well, we always hope for the best. Our daughter made her choice, and we try to support our children and what they're doing. And they had ups and downs, and we felt that they were eventually going to work it out because Susan was so dedicated to making it work, and she wasn't going to give up in any way. So we felt persistent she would eventually get what she wanted, and that was a happy family.
And she was dedicated to those boys.
Oh, very much
She's
so.
Dedicated to them. And have you had a chance, Mrs. Cox, to spend much time with your grandsons?
No, they won't let us see them, and I guess they have their reasons, but we keep trying.
There's limited communication between the two families?
He will not talk to us on the phone. We can't go over to the house. He has a email that my husband, that's the way they're supposed to communicate with each other, and he really hasn't replied except for once, I think.
And what are authorities telling you right now? I mean, how often do they talk to you?
We talk to the authorities investigating the case about once a week, just as an update, and they just tell us that the case is progressing. They're working leads, and they're making progress.
Jennifer, another claim that your father made was questioning whether or not your sister-in-law ran off with another man. And again, you spent a lot of time. I see the family shaking their head. And you just don't believe that's possible at all.
no. No, we chatted regularly about details about their relationship and their life. She was a really big talker. She would have probably come out with something about that kind of thing if it was even in her mind.
You said she can't keep a secret. Can't keep a secret.
She really couldn't.
How, and this is a difficult question to ask you both, Mr. and Mrs. Cox. I mean, we just want to, our heart goes out to the entire family. And how do you deal with the immense sadness and the uncertainty of what could have happened to your daughter?
Well, we have the hope that she's still alive, and we realize after this time we have to prepare ourselves for the fact that we may find her body somewhere, but we still have hope that she's alive, and we hang on to that, and we have support of our friends and the church and people around the world. There's still thousands of people supporting.
We share that hope for you. And we see the support. And Kirk, thank you for being there for Jennifer. And we can see the ribbons and see how you all are holding up. So thank you both. Thank you all very, very much. We appreciate that. And